Hi everyone, today's topic is old study approach versus new study approach for NCLEX success. So here's the first study approach that did not work. And this is actually the common approach that a lot of students fall into. So let me know if you can relate to any of these. Reading without really getting it? That's just going through the motions. You know, it's like flipping through your textbooks, notes, or those PDFs you found online. You're soaking up a ton of info, but are you actually learning anything? It's all about understanding how to use what you read, not just skimming through and hoping it sticks for the exam. That's what I call passive reading, and trust me, it's not the way to go. You know, the issue with just passively reading is that it's super easy to zone out and start daydreaming, right? At the end of the day, you really don't remember much of what you read. You could spend ages going through your notes, but when exam time rolls around, it's like everything just slips your mind. The thing is, if you're not really engaging with the material, you're not pushing yourself to understand it. It's just a mechanical process, and that's not going to cut it. Let's dive into a fresh way to study. First off, ditch the cramming. Seriously, so many students fall into that trap, especially when exams are looming. But here's the deal, cramming just doesn't cut it. You're piling on stress, trying to cram all that info in a tiny window, and it's totally not sustainable. Trust me, you'll just end up burnt out. Instead, spread your studying over a longer stretch. This way, you're not racing against the clock and you actually give yourself the chance to soak up the material. Sounds way better, right? The next thing you want to do is replace passive reading with active learning. So instead of just reading through your notes, try actually teaching the concepts to someone else. This way, you reactively engaging with the material and you re-challenging yourself. Try teaching the concepts to someone else for better understanding. Really understand it. You can also do this by creating mind maps or diagrams or even just using flashcards. The key is to find ways to make learning more active and engaging. Flashcards and mnemonics are super fun ways to boost your memory. They really help you review info because they push you to recall things actively. Mnemonics make it easier to remember stuff in a catchy way. By using these techniques, you can ditch the old way of just reading everything without really learning it. Instead, you'll move to a more effective study method that actually helps you learn and remember what you need for your exams. How cool is that? Today, we'll be going over why the old way of studying did not work and the new study approach that is so much more effective. The new approach includes active learning strategies that have been shown to increase knowledge retention by up to 500%. That means you will actually remember what you study and be able to apply it to your nursing school exams and the NCLEX. The old way of studying consisted of passive reading. You're passively reading your textbook, your notes, or some PDF and highlighting things and taking notes and not really understanding the concept. And then when it comes exam time, you re-cramming all of this information in your head in the last few days before the exam, and then, of course, forgetting everything after the exam. So the new study approach is an active learning strategy where you're actually teaching the concepts to somebody else or even just talking out loud. So let's get into an example. Let's say your weak areas are pharmacology and prioritization questions. Step 1, you want to learn the drugs by class and not by individual names. For example, with beta blockers, all ending in LOL, you want to know that these drugs lower HR and BP and they should be avoided in asthma. Same thing with ACE inhibitors. All ending in pril, these drugs can cause a cough and angioedema. Anticoagulants, which are either heparin or warfarin, you want to know how to monitor them. Heparin, we monitor PTT, warfarin, we monitor INR, and a little mnemonic to help you remember that. April, which is a month, is for ACE inhibitors, pril, and it makes me cough. Step 2, when it comes to prioritization questions, always use the ABCs. A, B, C stands for airway, breathing, circulation. And you want to know which patients are stable and which patients are unstable. Unstable patients will always take priority over stable patients. And there's a book called Lacarity's Prioritization, Delegation, and Assignment. I highly recommend you get this book and do 10 prioritization questions from this book every single day. Step 3, once you finish all of your studying, you want to revise with active learning. So you reactively teaching the concepts to someone else, or you re-recording yourself while you re-explaining the concept. And then you can use flashcards for drugs, for medical conditions, for any type of learning. You can use something like Anki or Quizlet. And then for those tricky questions that maybe you got wrong or you just found really confusing, write out the rationales for those questions. And then you're going to repeat this process every single day until the material has sunk in, and you actually feel confident in your abilities, and you actually feel like you can apply this knowledge to your nursing school exams and the NCLEX. If you found this helpful, check out my channel for more study tips and tricks.